What's up, everybody? It's your favorite little bird's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Cang Toys Legend Scale Dive Bomb. This is on loan to me from Joel W. You know, I kind of have very mixed feelings about Cang Toys and their sort of tactics in regard to how they did this, all of it. But we're going to check those feelings at the door in order to give this as much of an objective review as we can. That being said, in order to look at this guy, you know where we need to start: accessories. So I suppose first and foremost, you get these two pairs of wings. Obviously, you get two sets. I'm just showing the one. You know, lots of articulation. We'll apply it and then show how it works and stuff. But all of the feathers sort of fan out here. You know, not unlike the MP version. It's completely covered in gold paint with the additional kind of silver highlights and accents along the way. So looks good. And if you take this red piece here and insert it into the peg on his back, then you can kind of have the wings out to the side. They are huge and massive, so we'll probably take them off when we get to the figure. He comes with a sword. Obviously, I would imagine this is going to interconnect for the giant Predaking sword, and it is painted, of course, silver and gold. He can hold it just fine. He comes with a gun, and it is fully painted with this gunmetal silver, the bright silver, and then the gold accents. Beautifully painted, beautifully sculpted. And he can hold it just fine. And lastly, it comes with the combiner hand. We'll show you how this integrates when we get to that part of the review. So let's talk about the figure. We'll start with the head. Obviously, we're going to leave the wings off for the sake of just going through the figure. I like it. I like the sculpt. It's still kind of missing that iconic dive bomb look, though, but in and of itself, it looks good. It's also painted. The paint is sharp, so no issues there. Head is on a hinge? Yeah, just a hinge. So you get up, down, and then it swivels where it plugs in because it's just really on a peg. All right, simple. Then we have the torso. We have lots of Tampo paint there, silver and gold, and little accents and stuff. You know, this figure is well painted, there's no doubt about it. And you have a waist swivel and an ab crunch. So that's pretty cool. For the shoulders, we have a ball peg that gets you up almost to 90 degrees and around. And that's it. Oh, you got a little bit of a reverse butterfly. More Tampo paint, gold paint, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow for the full range. No wrist swivel. And no hinge, so they're just kind of locked in position. And then you get Tampo paint there, gold paint on the side. Once again, no shortage of deco on this figure. For the lower body, we have the hip skirts. They'll get up and out of the way, also have Tampo paint on them, also have metallic paint accents, just a beautiful figure in that regard. We have T-jointed ball joints that get you out for the full Van Damme for the most part. If you get the tail out of the way, you can get the full Monty, so no issues there. Thigh swivel, and then as we move down into the lower leg, we have the metallic gray, we have the gold, the silver accents, the metallic red. They did not spare the brush in any way, shape, or form. I think I missed the knee, but the knee is a single hinge, and it is very limited, which is a bummer. And then you have the ankle tilt up, the ankle tilt down, and a slight rocker. You could probably use more there, and then a toe tilt down and a heel tilt down. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a mixed bag in regards to articulation, but at the very least, I don't think it's limiting in any way. You get this tail that can move a bit, and that's about it. Size comparison wise, there he is with our usual suspects: the old school Iron Factory Legend Scale Blaster and a Hasbro Legend Stunticon. And there he is with Iron Factory Tarn. So this is a big figure, even by Legend Scale, which is kind of on par for them. Like, even their combiner MP size figures are much larger probably than they should be. So par for the course. All right, let's get him transformed. So we're gonna tuck away as much as possible. So hand goes in, close up. Hand goes, oh look, oh, because it unlocks it, yeah. Hand goes in, closes up, straighten out your bicep here. Snap down the shoulder. And that should sit between the kind of indentation in the forearm. Bring the chest down, head in, get your wings as far out of the way as you can, because we're gonna bring the bird head up and around. Swivel it on this ball peg there. And we're gonna bring the arms around. And then make sure this is lined up, and they'll sit in the back here. Now, these pegs, you have 2 pegs here, and they line up with the female versions there, but it's not a great connection. So just do the best you can, like my kids say. They do, and sometimes I believe them, and sometimes I do not. But there's pretty much the upper body done. All right, and then lower body, we're going to swivel at the thigh. You push the knee up, which unlocks this section here to fold down. But you also want to, I know Joel is just there. So if you untab it, you get that. And I guess you could untab it for more of a knee bend in your robot mode. But to me, if you've got to like undo stuff to get the articulation, it doesn't really count. And then swivel the bird leg around, or the bird foot around. So same on this side. We're going to swivel at the thigh. We're going to push the knee against the thigh and away from the shin, which will unlock the shin. And then we need to bend at the knee for that additional range. And swivel the bird leg around. And then I guess tab these together, but I wouldn't tab these, to be honest with you, because then you're not going to be able to get as cool a look on the bird mode. Fold out your tail feathers. Shake your tail feathers too if you haven't done that. And then I think you're good to go. I'll get him cleaned up. We'll take a look at him. And there he is. And I mean, I think it's effective. I think it's as effective as it can be. The only thing that I'm not sure, there's a space and a gap between the beak here, but I have tried to open the mouth and it won't go on mine. So I don't know if that's if it's an MP and not a YP, meaning a my problem, not a your problem. But be that as it may, it's still giving me some grief. So the foot articulation is the same as robot mode. The head is on a ball peg. As long as that stays intact, you can get straight ahead, you can get down, you can get the swivel. It actually has a fair amount of character that comes through in the head, so to speak. And then we have the legs, which operate the same, except you get more of a reverse knee. So actually, that actually helps a fair bit. I like this alt mode a lot, to be honest with you. And it's a fair bit of fun. And I think, well, I have some opinions about this aesthetically, but like I think that this would probably work pretty well with the Iron Factory collection. Like I think it would fit in nicely. But yeah, I don't have any issues with it. I mean, we've already talked about the range of motion in the wings, which is pretty significant. You know, I think it's a good little bird. And there he is next to Tiger Tracks. And let's get him into arm mode. So first thing we're going to do is remove our wings because they're going to go on Predacang's back, right? So we won't need those. And we're going to move these arms around to the front, and we're going to connect the forearm here to the shoulder, and then swivel them up and connect the elbow to the side of the chest. And we're going to do that on both sides. And to the side of the chest, and then the head comes down, and this little notch on the beak that I was using to try to pull the beak apart will sort of sit in a chest cavity, but it doesn't lock in, it just sits there. All right, and then we need to straighten these legs and tab in our knees back so that it still is released for the shins or the calves, the lower legs. You can tab these together, your legs, and then let's just get these out of the way so I can work. We're gonna fold up the calves, and as we do so, we're gonna rock down the foot until this toe tabs in to the upper slot there, which I'm not going to put too much strain on, of the calf. So we're going to do that on this side as well. That one went a lot better. And then you gotta, like, you know, maneuver, obviously. Oh wait, these wings fold in and they tab in with 2 tabs there as well, so that kind of locks that in place. And rock your hip skirts down. And then, you know, you want to swivel the top part of the body. There's the connector port. You pull that out. You want to swivel the top part and the bottom part until the line's up and the elbow's right and blah blah blah. But I think you get the idea. I will say that, like, oh, let's put the hand on at least. So there, and slide that on. I'm missing a finger. I'm going to check and see if it's not in the box. Or perhaps this is it. This is probably it. There. And there's kind of your rough end of the arm. I will say that, like, generally speaking, the shoulder looks a little small to me in comparison to the forearm. I'm not sure if that is going to bother me a ton or not. We'll have to wait and see when we get to combine mode. But I mean, I think that this is a good enough representation, at least for critiquing purposes, to see how we feel about this thing overall. And honestly, what's funny is I actually feel more optimistic about this combine mode than I ever did about the MP scale one. This just feels like it has all of the workings to kind of work properly. So yeah, I'm good with it. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negatives. The biggest negative for me is some of the joint tolerances, especially in the knees, but not limited to the knees. The ankles would be another one just off the top of my head. Some of the stuff is just a little tight and doesn't give you good vibes when you're going to manipulate it, especially when you feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on a particular hinge. Next up would be articulation. Even if you can get more of a knee bend, I guess you can. Because of the tolerances, it just doesn't feel right. In addition to that, we have limited wrist articulation. The ankle rocker's limited. The head articulation's a little limited. Not crazy, but a little bit. It has a butterfly, but it's a reverse butterfly. And normally I wouldn't giggle stuff like that, but I mean, most companies are kind of including butterfly joints nowadays. So it's like, at what point does something that used to be kind of extra become the new standard, you know? And me personally, in regards to kind of subjective stuff, I really think that kind of the most iconic thing about this character is that bird beak over top of his head, and like they still failed to do it. And maybe that's unfair of me to even consider it an option at this point, since we already kind of know what their vibe is. But it would have been nice, in my opinion, to have included it. It's what kind of represents that character to me. I don't know. Seems like a misstep. And I think that's it. Positives wise, objectively, the sculpt is beautiful, in spite of what I think about the head sculpt. Next to that is the paint. The paint is fantastic. It's absolutely covered in it, and it's all gorgeous. It comes with the appropriate accessories. The build is good. I know I said some of the joints are tight, and I stand by that. However, it is solid from head to toe at the very least. The materials are great. A lot of little pride things like the Tampo paint and stuff. Like, it's a fantastic Legends figure, and I think, like I said, it'll work really well for your IDW or Iron Factory collection. So for that, it's a recommend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.